Hey, and welcome to episode 3 of the Political Arena. Earlier, we talked about, in an earlier episode, we talked about how Trump or Clinton, what they need to do for the electoral map in order to win. But today we're going to talk about the political spectrum and directly about the voters and not the electoral system. So here we have a political spectrum where we have Republicans, Democrats, the silent majority, the deep left over here, and the deep right over here. Now, the percentage numbers you see there are a percentage of registered Republicans, Democrats, 29%, 42% are part of what is called the silent majority or independents. These are where most of the votes are going to be coming from, but this, the minority, is what you hear more about the most in today's media, whether it be deep Democrats over here, deep Republicans over here. So you really don't get this picture. You get that picture, and really these are taking over the voting, the candidates. So we have something here, the letters here, so we'll start with the Republican side first. So you have your Tea Party patriots right here. These are your Tea Party part of the Republican Party. This is Trump. This is, by the way, the political spectrum, if you don't know, is the farther the right, the more conservative values you have. The farther to the left, the more liberal policies you have, like be it economical, social, anything like that. So, low taxes, no forced time minimum wage, all kinds of less government spending, fiscal responsibility, human rights over here on the left side, higher taxes on the wealthy, more welfare programs, stuff like that, more liberal policies, subsidized education. On the right side, education should be up to the states, they believe. Education should be left to the federal government. So anyway, all right, so this is the deep left, the deep right. So we'll start with the Republican Party and the Tea Party Patriots, which is the Republican Party, and we're going to talk about it relative to the candidates of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, neither of which are in the silent majority, which is why their approval ratings are pretty low, because Trump doesn't, appeal to this part of the silent majority, and Hillary really doesn't appeal to this side of the silent majority. So we'll start with Trump, and on the right side here. So Donald Trump, he has the uniqueness that the Democrats have, in which they are not appealing to this side of the spectrum here. This part here, your deep Republican, Tea Party patriots, they don't support Trump. They think he's too liberal. They don't believe he's actually a conservative. You can argue for or against that, but they don't believe he's a true conservative, which is why this part of the party does not like him. And neither this party is starting not to like this whole, what they call the establishment part in general. So what people are predicting is there could be a split within the Republican Party about right here. And you could have a whole third party. I'll put a number. Oop, I butchered that. Let me redo that. I'll put a number 3 here for third party that could come into play later on down the road. So the Republican Party does have the possibility of splitting in half after this election, if they win or not. Because Donald Trump, he's going to want legislation that maybe Congress won't like the establishment Republicans. So either one thing's going to happen. The senators and congressmen are going to get voted out, or Congress is going to be at a deadlock. So the art of compromise is going to be, it's going to be put to stress, because the art of compromise is dying, as we know, with deadlocks in Congress. So we want to make sure that we bring back the art of compromise, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So that's the Republican side. And the thing is, Donald Trump, so during the nomination process, the reason why people are upset with the process is this part of the party, the registered Republicans, have the voice, whereas these people don't. Democrats, this part of the party has the voice, whereas these people don't. These people don't get the choice, but yet they're 42% of all the voters, but yet they don't get a voice. The independents don't get a voice in who they can pick. They don't. So that's why there's a fight for open primaries. You know, if you're independent, you can vote for the Democrat nominee or the Republican nominee, which will kind of, instead of getting the far right candidates and the far left candidates, and bring them kind of towards, so they have the Republican nominee here and the Democrat nominee here, which both appeal to this, and you know, the silent majority actually gets a voice in government. So that's basically what the fight is. You know, the people aren't being represented with their candidate, which they don't believe. So Trump, he's trying to appeal to this majority here, and Hillary's trying to appeal to this majority here. But as they do that, they're splitting away from the deep ends here. Same thing with the Bernie people. Now, you have people like Bernie Sanders coming out for Hillary, but the supporters are still here. They're not moving towards Hillary. They don't like Hillary. They don't like Trump. So one of two things are going to happen. They're not going to show up to the polls, or they're going to vote for Trump in spite of Hillary, which a lot of people think, 30% of Bernie supporters could come out and vote for Trump, and that's the election. Trump would beat Hillary. Now, the reason the Bernie Sanders here support Trump is the same reason the Trump supporters support Trump. He's not establishment. Hillary is his establishment. If you like what's going on right now in this country, if you like the way we're heading, Hillary's your candidate because you're going to get the same thing with her. But if you want actual change, Trump can bring that more than Hillary can. So Bernie appeals to here, and yet again, these Democrats see Bernie as a little bit too radical, but they can relate more than the establishment can relate with the deep right. Because they're kind of unifying around their candidate. They're kind of unifying for their candidate. So, but the Hillary supporters, these people over here see Hillary as a war hawk. They think that she is going to get us into more conflicts in the Middle East, which her record shows as Secretary of State and Senator, that people believe she can be a war hawk, which is why she doesn't appeal to the deep left. So you're in the unique position here where the silent majority may not come out to vote, but yet again, whatever the silent majority, whoever can appeal, if Trump can appeal this much, and Hillary only appeals this much, and these are no-shows, you have a problem. I call that the baseball effect, because, you have your stitching here, and whoever can appeal more of the baseball wins. I just came up with that on the spot, by the way. So, the baseball effect, ladies and gentlemen, the baseball effect. So you got that unique situation in which whoever can appeal to more of the baseball wins the entire election. And, some people blame the system that the silent majority doesn't get the vote, which they should have a right to. And if you don't like the system, then vote out the people that will put the system you like in. Which means don't vote on the ballot R, D, 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 D. Vote for the candidate you support, and if you don't like the candidates, run for office. Yeah, you might get killed, you might not get the funding, but at least you can say you tried to do something. Anyway, so yeah. That's the Republican-Democrat dilemma on the political spectrum. So, where do you lie on this spectrum? Are you in the deep left, silent majority, where you feel like your voice isn't being heard? Or are you on the deep right? Are you anti-establishment? What changes do you want to see? That's questions that our democracy has to handle, and that's a question that we've been fighting ever since the democracy, or I should say republic, has created. Thank you for tuning in, and please subscribe to The Political Arena. Have a good day.